Hi, I'm John Kahney. I'm part of the kinesiology staff here at Harvard College, and I'm here with a very special guest. You want to introduce yourself?
I am Dennis Houghton.
Dennis and I have been friends for about 10 years now. He was my mentor teacher when I started working with injured veterans. And today we're going to kind of show you some of the great things that he's been able to accomplish with adapted sport, PE, fitness. Dennis, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I was born with one hand, and my whole life's journey, and it has been a journey, learning to adapt to sports. But since I was born with one hand, I didn't lose it in a battle or an accident. I didn't have to readapt, retrain my brain to do things differently than the way I used to do it. It was step by step. Okay, I want to play baseball. I want to do this. I want to do this. How am I going to get there? What are the tools? What are the devices? Is there somebody nearby that can teach me? One of my first memories was I wanted to play baseball, and I asked my parents, I said, is there someone in the area that we grew up in that knows how to do this? So that my dad did some research, found a baseball player who had one hand, like me. I spent about 20 minutes with him, and that sort of kick-started my athletic career. Let me give you a little bit, a list of sports I've competed in. I started out racing sled dog teams, believe it or not, in Michigan. I did that for 15 years, had 65 dogs, was very competitive, semi-professional. I ran track when I was in my 20s. I ran cross country in high school. I became a cross country ski racer. I water skied, downhill skied. So you're getting a sort of a pattern here that nothing was in my way. I saw no hurdles. I went around them. I knocked them down. I became a triathlete in the 80s because I didn't want to tire my body out because I was doing so many running races, including Boston marathons and other marathons around the country. Even ran a race in Alaska up a mountain. So I became a triathlete. Swim, bike, run. Learned how to swim in Boy Scouts when I was a young kid. Swam the mile. I go, okay, well, that's not a hurdle. So then I just did about 200 running races. Did over 90 triathlons, way over 86 cross-country ski races. So you see that pattern again. No hurdles, no barriers. Here I come, get out of my way.
Dennis, you want to tell us a little bit about when you were a kid? Were there people that kind of stood in your way and told you no, or did you get teased as a kid? How did you handle any of those situations? Did they affect you? Did they motivate you? Was there somebody that really, said you can do this versus no, you can't?
Well, I think the biggest thing is my parents gave me opportunities. They wanted to leave the doors wide open. If you see something you want to try, go for it. You mentioned bullying. Yes, there was bullying, but I had talked to my parents several times about what is this all about, and they taught me that don't let that bother you too much because it's a reflection on the people that are doing it, not a reflection on who or what you are. So I put that out of my mind. It's like, okay, whatever, Billy. And so there were no hurdles. Going through school, tough times, every once in a while, sure, but whatever. And some people say, well, you're disabled. No, I'm not disabled. I've never let that define me as to what I am or who I am.
Tell us about some of your career experiences, professional experiences in adapted fitness.
I became a personal trainer late in my life, and because I was a professional filmmaker, photographer, cinematographer, traveled around the world, did a bunch of cool stuff, worked on the Wild Kingdom show, and I did it with one hand. And by the way, I have two hands. I have one of the most advanced bionic hands on the planet, which does all sorts of stuff. I can rotate the thumb in, I can rotate the hand, I can flex the wrist. It has 14 different grip patterns, so I can grab my camera, which is being used right now, and start pushing buttons using one of the grip patterns. It's pretty cool. And so it's triggered by muscle contractions, using the same muscles that we use opening and closing our hands. And so when I close my hand, you can see these muscles contract. When I open, it's done with this muscle group. And John, you're the super expert on which muscles am I using? It's these ones, the inside and the outside ones. We're getting really technical here. So I have those in my arm. There are little sensors on the inside of the carbon fiber arm which sense the contraction. It sends it to the electronics, to the computer in the hand, and it works. It's just super cool stuff. And John, I need to give you a little hand around the office here. Nice job. And not only do I have this, but depending on what I'm using, I'm going to reach down out of frame here. If I'm doing something really industrial, strong, I can use my hook. It opens, closes, all that stuff. Also, it has a computer inside it. And I'm going to actually take my arm off. So the arm is held down by suction, little hand sanitizer, move it around a little bit, wiggle my arm, and there it is. This weighs almost nothing. The hand is 2.5 pounds. This weighs nothing. There's a couple of batteries in it, some electrodes. So now this is what I look like without the prosthetic. This is how I function as a triathlete, a runner, a swimmer, cross-country skier. I never used any adaptive equipment for cross-country skiing, one pole, but I had to really concentrate on balance of my body. Where are my shoulders going? Where am I leaning? And I've always had to focus on that.
So you mentioned cross-country. Are there other sports that you've done? You've done an Ironman. Tell us about those experiences.
So I did the Ironman while I was training to become a personal trainer. So I had all that knowledge of nutrition, very important, all the training aspects of which muscle groups, building endurance. The Ironman is super long, and I'm going to have you look up what those distances are so I'm not feeding you all this information. A little research on your part. It's a long day in the office. I was involved in playing baseball. I got a batting average of .326. I was a switch hitter. I used to freak pitchers out because they see this kid, oh, he must be disabled. I get up there, I'm getting ready to bat right-handed. Just before a pitch, I'd switch, and I'd go to the other side, freak them out. I played outfield pitcher. When I was pitching, there was time sometimes where somebody hit a line drive. I didn't have time to put my glove on, and I would catch a ball like this, less impact on the hand. So I've been just blessed with the ability to compete in so many different sports. And I'm going to share a quick little story about golf. I'm sure some of you probably golf. So we went on a family vacation. I had never golfed in my life. I'm with my family, brothers, wives, all that stuff, and we're golfing. Never golfed in my life, never went to a putting range. We're golfing, get to the third hole, I'm beating everybody, and they're golfers. So they're, they go, here's Dennis, blah, blah, blah. We get to about the 7th or 8th hole, and we're coming up on a group in front of us. We're catching up to them. There's a group catching up to us. So we stop, say, okay, you guys play through, and the other team's going to let us play through. And one guy came up to me and said, so, how long have you been golfing? I looked at my watch. I said, oh, about 35 minutes. And he goes, no. How many years have you been golfing? I said, today. He didn't believe me. He goes, that's freaky. You can't be telling the truth, my brother said. He's telling the truth. He's never golfed before. And one of the guys turned to me, he said, so what's your handicap? So I turned to him, I said, what are you, blind? True story, the guy went white. But once again, I've been very blessed with a very strange mix of fast twitch, slow twitch muscles so I could do the quick, short sprints, long distance. It's been cool.
So in a second, we're going to showcase some of the items that Dennis has brought to share with you. But before we do that, what message do you want to send to people that work with disability, future teachers of adapted PE, maybe people that work with injured veterans, or anybody with disability? What message do you want to share with them?
I would say that do your research, knock down the barriers, knock out any barriers that you have in your mind, the preconceptions, hurdles that you may think that this person can't get through, can't adapt to, because there are so many adaptive devices out there that were never available. When I was growing up, there was a company called TRS, and I can't remember the rest of the name, but they sell so many adaptive things to arms, to legs, to hook up to, whether it's a kayak paddle or a bike or weightlifting. It's a cool company. So do some research on that. Get that stored in your brain so that if you are starting to work with someone with some disabilities, you can look up, learn, use YouTube, YouTube University. I use it every day for my professional video and photography stuff. If I'm not learning, I must be dead. So capture that mantra and use it in your life.
So in closing, I want to thank you, Dennis, for opening our eyes to all these new ideas and concepts. And as a teacher of students who are going to go out and teach adapted PE, my message is never limit somebody by your perceived limitations of them. Your job is to get them to where they want to be. And it's our job to facilitate that. So once again, thank you, Dennis, and we really appreciate your help today.
You bet. And help your students learn beyond what they desire to learn. Push them, but more help them. That's your job, my job, John's job.